Voiceflow just released 2 new features that could potentially save you so much tokens and time in the long run. What are those? They are called structured output and variable pathing. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so we are back in Voiceflow at the moment, and I'm just going to quickly go over some of the main new features that Voiceflow has. Right. So it has basically 2 things. Well, technically 3, but mostly 2 things I want to cover. Is that there's a new feature. If I move myself, it's called, you probably heard of it, but just going to make it super obvious. It's called structured output and variable path. Right, so structured output and variable pathing. So what does it actually mean? Well, I'm going to use an example to actually guide you guys through. So if I just build let's say a calories tracker that takes an input from the user of what food you just ate, and it will output the calories content and the amount of sugar in the food, just, for people who wants to keep track of calories and sugars and stuff like that. So we literally just drag it and we can say message, right? A very simple calorie tracker. Hi, please, I am your calories tracker. Calories, can't spell. Calories tracker. Please provide the food you just ate, right? And as usual, it's going to capture the user's reply, right, to last utterance, right? And now we're going to go through an AI step. So we go to a set step. And if we just set it to prompt. Now I've already gone ahead and prompted, but let me just go from scratch. So let's call calories tracker. I'm just going to put a very simple system prompt here. You are a highly intelligent calories tracker. Your role is to take the user's input in last utterance, which is a food item, and output the amount of calories and sugar in the food, right? And I'm just going to put pretty easily last utterance. Like, it's very simple prompt. Obviously, in real life, you can refine this a lot more, but this is just for illustrative purposes. And if you go to settings, now you can choose your AI model. Let's choose for mini and temperature max tokens. Now, the one that I want to show you is structured output. So structured output in Voiceflow. So it now allows you to basically tell Voiceflow what kind of outputs you want. You basically can ask Voiceflow to format a very specific format of output that you would like it to output, right? So what I mean by that is that one of the examples is JSON output. So if you just literally turn this on, now you can see that you can enter the JSON schema. Now for developers, this should be quite obvious in terms of the output format, but for non-developers, there's actually a trick you can do. You can just click add sample and just click any one of them. I'll just click data extraction. Now, this might seem like a lot, but let me just break it down. All it is JSON structure, where the first layer is type, which is the type of the output, which is a JSON, right? JSON is an object, right? It's a data type called object, so that's why the type is called object. Now, there's properties, right? So for inside properties, these are the variables that you want the model to output, right? So in this case, you will see, like, for example, it will have title, right? This is an example for book. So you get title as one of the variables that you want to capture. You got authors, you got abstract, you've got keywords, etc., right? These are the variable name that you want to capture. Now within the variable, you can have data types. Now, what Voiceflow now allows you to do is that you can store the data and specify what data types you have. Now, the amount of data types that you have right now is, I'll show it on the screen, is string, Boolean, numeric object, and enum, right? These are the main data types that you can store. So for example, a title would be a string data type, right? And in our use case, we should probably change all of that. So in our case, inside properties, we want, first of all, obviously the food, which is a string. And inside the description, you can literally say the food item that the user has provided. And the next variable we want to save is obviously the calories. So the data type of that will be number, right? Because it's going to be a number. Calories is a numeric value, which is going to be in the description the calories of the food item. And now the third variable you want to output is sugar, which is again a number, right? Which is the sugar content of the food item, right? So these are the three variables that we want: food, calories, and sugar. And we can just delete these extra variables that we have, right? And for the required, this is a parameter, which means that it basically tells AI these are the variables that must be returned after this set step, right? So I'm just gonna say food, calories, and sugar. Right, these are the three variables that we want to return. And for additional properties, we just say false because there aren't any additional properties that we want to return. So this is the kind of the structure format that we want, because before you would kind of need to specify for each of these variables. You need to set a variable. You need to create a variable for each of these variables, like sugar, calories, and food. And you need to manually define what kind of data type it is. But now, with these AI prompts, you can literally output all of these in one JSON object, and you can define the data types and everything within this format output, within this structured output. So now everything is much more clear and more structured, right? So now if I run this, you basically you can see like the output now is in a JSON format where you've got the key value pair of food, banana, right? The calories, which is 105, sugar is 14 grams of sugar, right? I should probably make this a little bit more clear in kcal, right? In kcalories, and the amount of calories here in kcal, and the amount of sugar, which is in grams in the food, just to make it a little bit more obvious what the units are, but you get the point of this structured output. Now, the amazing thing is, now I can set this variable, I can create a variable called food, right? Let's call it food. Let's call it food. Now, you can actually recall the properties of this variable, just like you would in JavaScript. So now if I just literally message back and say the calories are, right? Now you can create the variable, you can set the variable food. Then what you can do is dot calories, because calories is one of the output that must be returned. Remember, we set it in structured output, right? And the sugar, if we just do a separate message, the amount of sugar in grams is food.sugar, right? So within the variable food, we want to output the value of the sugar, right? I hope that makes sense. So now if I just run this whole thing, please provide the just 8, banana. Now it would say the calories are 89 and the amount of sugar in grams is 12, right? So obviously, like, they probably got it maybe wrong on the amount of sugar. I didn't know how much sugars are there in the banana, but I assume it's 12. But let me know in the comments, by the way, if that's accurate. But the point is, now you don't need to go ahead and create a variable calories, and you don't need to go ahead and create a variable sugar. You can do all of that within this prompt step, right? Within here, within the structured output of the JSON, right? In here. So the use case obviously is when you return a prompt within a variable, and you have multiple variables that needs to be returned. For example, you got food, you got calories, you got sugar, maybe you got the amount of salt, let's say, I don't know, like salt, and you got like number of fat, carbohydrates, etc. Like, let's say it's a macro tracker, right? Then it becomes kind of annoying before, where you have to basically create a variable for each one of these. But now within the structured format, that structured output that the Voiceflow team has just implemented, you can just do all that within a JSON format, within the prompt step, and now you can easily recall these variables by using the variable dot subvariables, right? Right. So it makes everything much clearer. I hope that makes sense. And it's now available right now, and my understanding is GPT-4o and GPT-4o Mini, the most two commonly used LLMs. I hope that makes sense. And so yeah, that will be structured output and variable pathing, right? It's a very simple use case, so I hope that makes sense. And the final thing I do want to mention before I go is that right now, if you go to test your agent, see how fast this is returning? I would just say, let's say, no. See how fast the messages are returning? It's because right now, Voiceflow has implemented a new streaming feature where it allows a very fast kind of testing within Voiceflow. So if you, instead of clicking run, if you just literally check test your agent, the response that you get is much faster than the typical run feature. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That's all the new updates that Voiceflow had last week to this week. So hopefully it gives you an idea of structured output, variable pathing in particular, and it will save you so much credit from having to create all these different variables and do all this formatting, whereas now you can just do it very neatly in the prompt set within JSON. If you like these type of content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what kind of builds you want me to cover in the next video. And yeah, that's it for me today. And before you go, watch this. My name is Edwin. I'm the founder of Legacy AI, alongside my friend Champion here. That's his real name, by the way. And together we offer voice-based and text-based AI solutions, like the one you're seeing in this video, to other businesses to help them save hours and hours of time and thousands of dollars spent on manual service tasks, such as appointment scheduling, CRM integration, lead generation, etc. And if you're a business owner and you're interested to see how these AI solutions can help transform your business and improve your bottom line, follow the link in the description to book a free consultation call with us today.